I'm going to mute everybody just so we can start off, and then Lynn, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lynn Frank, and I want to thank you all for coming tonight to our Tikkun Olam Townhall. And I am the co-chair for programming for the Tikkun Olam Committee, and I'm a co-chair along with Susie Mason. And Susie could not be here tonight, but she's here in spirit. And myself, along with many others, are working on our Tikkun Olam projects. And we wanted to have a town hall to discuss what we're doing and what we may do in the future, and to solicit ideas. If people have concerns, if they have topics or issues that you would like to address, we would love to hear it. And so to begin, I would like to introduce Rabbi, and he will do our Devar Torah.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Lynn. It's very nice to see you folks, and to be able to share virtually in this town hall. And, this is the week we start over again, right? I mean, we come out of Yom Kippur with our souls rejuvenated, pun intended, and refreshed and ready to go into the new year. And then we hit Simchat Torah, which we just finished. And that's to begin again, to start the Torah all over. So the Torah portion for this week is Bereshit, the story of creation. And for purposes of our Devar Torah, there's a million different directions you can go with Bereshit. But, you know this pattern. God creates the world in 6 days. And after each day of creation, God looks around at the things that God made that day and said, this is good. And occasionally God says, this is very good. And there's only one place after one particular creation that God does not say that this is good. And that's after creating human beings. After human beings, God is essentially silent about it. God doesn't say it was a bad idea. He doesn't say
Rabbi's frozen, right?
He is for me.
He's frozen, and it was I was so excited to hear what God was going to say about it.
Right. I'm gonna text him.
Don't leave us hanging.
To make a more whole, a more just.
Rabbi, you were frozen for a hot minute. So can you, Amy, where did he leave? You left off of.
I thought that God wasn't happy he was silent after we were created.
No, he's frozen again. I shouldn't laugh. Don't.
No, we're not laughing.
Yeah.
After humans were created. Oh no.
He's frozen again.
Yeah. Wait a minute. He's on a bad Wi-Fi.
Okay, you guys are moving again now, mostly.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Your Wi-Fi is in the red, and it should be in the.
Yeah. I'm going to move close to the router. So pardon me while I walk through my house. What was the last thing I said?
That God didn't say anything.
God didn't say anything after we were created.
And then I stopped there.
And then you stopped and you left us all hanging.
So let's see if this is any better closer to the router. So
100% better.
okay. So Celia can probably still hear me even though she's upstairs. So so the point is that human beings are not complete until we activate our sense of righteousness, of justice, of doing Tikkun Olam. It's only when we do that that God can say of us that we're good. So we are always a project in the works. And so a group like this, our Tikkun Olam committee, our Tikkun Olam program, is what helps us become what God intends for us to be, B'Tselem Elohim, to be made in the image and the likeness of God. We are born in the image. We have to grow in the likeness. Can you hear that song? May this be God's will. I'm also first on the agenda, Lynn. So do you want me to just go right into
Yes.
talking about?
Thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure. So I hope that made sense, even though it was sort of broken into two parts there. But so Magen David Adom is Israel's national blood service and their national emergency response network for taking care of people in need. And we got particularly involved with them, starting with our Tikkun Olam fair. Is that now 2 years ago? They came, they were very impressed with us, with our community, with our Tikkun Olam community. And I started talking to them about the possibility of bringing together a consortium of congregations in the suburbs to endow an ambulance for Magen David Adom, which is Israel's, as I said, their ambulance service, among other things. So we did that. I spoke to a number of my colleagues around the community, and we have 9 congregations participating in a project to raise at least $115,000, which is what it takes to build an ambulance in, I think, Terre Haute, Indiana, and send it over to Israel. Amazingly, this hasn't been done in the northern suburbs of Chicago by any congregation or by a group of congregations in 20 years. So the ambulance fleet there was sorely taxed during the COVID epidemic at its worst, and ambulances get old and need to be replaced anyway. So it's a big need, a pretty dramatic one, and so we wanted to do that. The Tikkun Olam committee endorsed the idea. The board of directors at Makom Salel voted unanimously to endorse the idea. And I know some of you have served on either the board here or boards at other congregations, and you know that unanimous votes don't happen very often, frankly. So this is something that really enjoys the support of the congregation. We just have to get the word out and make sure people know that we're doing it. And so we're in the process of doing that right now. And I'll just tell you about a few things that are underway. To begin with, our goal at our congregation is $25,000. And our goal is to raise that before Hanukkah rolls around. So we want this to be kind of short and sweet, and then be on to whatever the next thing is. So a couple of things that are happening. To begin with, we just talked to a couple of members of the staff and a couple of folks who came up and said they're regular donors to Magen David Adom. And among those people, before we even started out reaching out to anybody else, we raised $5,000. So that puts us 20% of the way there. We also wanted to make sure that our children in Lev Learning know about this. So Ashley agreed that all of the tzedakah money that comes in during this first semester up until Hanukkah will go towards this ambulance drive, Magen David Adom. I'll be visiting some of the classrooms and talking about the organization, and the kids are learning about it. And it wasn't necessarily my idea, but it seems to have caught on that the class that raises the most money for Magen David Adom is going to have a donut party around Hanukkah. And consequently, we have children in Lev Learning asking their grandparents to make donations to them to make in their classroom. So I don't have a number for how much Lev Learning has already raised but I have heard about a couple of kids coming in with a $50 bill from their grandparents. So what they give will actually really be meaningful, I think. Besides, it would be meaningful in any amount, but it will really contribute towards our goal. The third thing that we're doing, and some of you will get this letter pretty soon, is that I'm writing to people who have visited Israel with me over the last 20 some years. And Rabbi Evan is also going to write to people who have traveled to Israel with him. We know that those people have visited Israel, they've seen Israel, perhaps fallen in love with Israel. And so we thought they might be folks who could, to the best they're able, give generously to this project. And then from there, we'll go to the general population. And this year is Israel's 75th anniversary year. So we're thinking of it as a 75th birthday present to Israel to be able to send an ambulance. So that's the campaign. Just want to say maybe one or two more words about the organization itself. I mean, it's an extraordinary organization. It's a non-governmental organization. They get no funding from the state of Israel. In fact, they lose money on what they do for the state of Israel, because one of the things they do is they provide the blood supply for Israel. They do the collections and things like that. And because of Israel's national medical care system, there's a set amount that Israel pays to Magen David Adom for a pint of blood. And what they pay doesn't cover the cost of collecting and storing that pint of blood. So in fact, they need donations, not just for ambulances, but in general, to help provide the services they provide. They provide services to every ambulance call in the state of Israel, which means that they serve every part of the population in the state of Israel. So, and one of the things that I love about Magen David Adom is how often their EMT crews are a mixed multitude of the people of Israel. So it's not uncommon at all, for instance, to have an Islamic driver and a Jewish EMT on an ambulance crew, or vice versa, or to have someone from the Philippines who's on board, or to have Ethiopians, Jews, Christians, Muslims, all kinds of people, a real cross section of the people who live in the land of Israel. And then, of course, they serve every call with the same speed and with the same attempt to save lives, no matter where the call comes from, what town, what village, what place. So it's one of those places that, one of those organizations that really serves humanity. And so I feel very comfortable making the ask for Magen David Adom. So I think I saw in the chat the question of where someone can do. There is going, I think there is going to be a tab on our website. We're ironing out those last little details now. Certainly, if people use checks, making a check to Makom and writing on the memo Magen David Adom will certainly ensure that it gets to the right spot. But we are also able to do that through credit card donations, where you'll be able to designate that you want the donation to go through us to Magen David Adom. And I do want to encourage people to go through us just to make sure that the accounting gets done properly towards our goal, so that we know that when we're done.
The person who does that in our office is Stephanie, and she's been out of town. She'll be back in tomorrow. So there'll be plenty of announcements in the next 48 hours.
48 to 72. That's something like that. And you'll start hearing it in announcements at services and things like that over the next couple of months. Are there any other questions? I'm glad that my internet allowed that to go through without freezing. So
Thank you so much, Rabbi. We're excited to work on the ambulance project.
Yeah, so we have 9 congregations. I want to stress that we brought together 9 congregations to get this done, and I think that that's pretty wonderful. We were trying to get the 10th to make a minyan, but so far we haven't gotten that last 10th one in yet.
So thank you so much. Oh, Marilyn, do you have a question?
You're on mute, Marilyn.
Last time you said that we were all going to come together for a specific gathering. I forgot the date of that and what that was about.
Yeah, I'll make mention of that now, but you'll hear a lot more about it later. And we hope that this will actually be really at the end of the fundraising period. But December 4th, right before Hanukkah, we have a group of musicians called Soul Farm and Sari. Sari is a musician, singer from here in Chicago. And Soul Farm is a group out of New York, and they're coming and they're going to play in our sanctuary on December 4th at 1 p.m. And Cantor J, I think, will be playing along with them, at least on a couple of tunes. And we'll have a speaker from Magen David Adom for a few minutes to make sure everybody knows about what we're doing, what we've done, hopefully. And it should be a really joyful time. And all the other congregations involved are invited to participate in that concert as well, which will be live and also, I believe, streamed. So, so people will be able to come and join us in person or watch from wherever they are.
Thank you. Is there a way to raise funds at that time, or will that be at the end when funds are ready?
Well, with luck, we'll be done.
Yeah.
But, you know, that doesn't mean we won't say, you know, you could always give a little more to Magen David Adom. As I say, you know, the ambulance is one thing. The support of the organization is really more than that. I guess I should say, just in case on this call, that if you want to see your name on the ambulance, for $10,000, a $10,000 donation, you can put any name you want onto the ambulance. Well, maybe I should qualify that. Any name, you know, any name you want within bounds of good taste, I guess.
So thank you, Rabbi. Rich, I know that you need to leave early, so we are going to have Rich Amond report about every voice, every vote.
Good evening. I apologize. I got another call at 7:30 around the elections, some voter protection work that I'm hoping to do. But so I guess 2 months ago, the Tikkun Olam Committee determined that we wanted to again support the Religious Action Center with their Every Vote, Every Voice campaign. So we began with 1,000 postcards. And it was a postcard writing project, working through Reclaim Our Vote, who is nonpartisan but very targeted in what they do, sending specific messages based upon state and county to voters to encourage them to one, to make sure they're registered, but two, how to get out to vote, whether they contact, you know, different organizations to ensure that they vote and it gets counted. So we started with 1,000 postcards going for the Florida primary, and we're fairly successful in that effort. So we decided to again do 3,000 more postcards. We did 1,000 for Virginia general election, 1,000 for North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, and then we were going to do North Carolina, but the list wasn't ready, so we did another 1,000 postcards for the general Florida election. This is what we did 2 years ago also. The postcards are in packets of 20 with all the instructions. From what I know, of the 3,000 we're going to do, we have about 300 left from what I know. There's about 15 packets left at the temple right by the security guard by the entrance. So again, it's very successful. We supported the Religious Action Center and, you know, going very well. Just the other thing I will mention, hopefully this project is winding down. I'm not sure that we will not have more involvement with our electoral process in the near future, but as some of you know, I'm involved with the Religious Action Center out of Washington. So as other projects come up or if people have things, we will be keeping our efforts going. This was a project that's ending, but does not mean our work is done. So I thought Amy raised her hand, I think.
I did. So I didn't know
Unless
if you
you're
wanted-
waving, unless you're happy to see me and just waving.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see you, Rich. I didn't know if you wanted to mention that Thursday there were 16 packets left. So there's going to be a little gathering Thursday at Makom at about 2:30, 3 o'clock with Linda Gusson to finish writing them.
Probably
Then-
Ellen Gusson.
Ellen, did I say Ellen?
No,
I didn't? Okay,
No.
so she's going to be there. And if anybody wants to show up to help complete those 16 packets, if we could do it.
yeah, I and it's been, the temple's done an excellent job promoting it. And with the next couple services, well, there is some time limit. I think these had to be mailed by the end of next week. So there should be a last minute push to get them done. But again, I think it's been very successful. Anybody else? And I thank everybody for their support. It's been a,
Thank you
Good
so
project.
much, Rich, for joining us tonight and all your work on this project. Up next, I'm going to ask Jay Futterman to give us a report from the Green Group.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So the Green Group, we have been meeting on a pretty much monthly basis now, and we have a couple upcoming events. On Sunday, October 23rd, this coming Sunday, we have an electronics recycling event. It's going on from 9:30 to 12:30. Part will be in the parking lot, part will be inside. There's going to be on-site paper shredding, collection for computers, phones, laptops, tablets, any old electronics that you have. Those that are still usable in terms of phones and tablets, Blair Brenner will be looking into repurposing them for her foundation. Those that aren't usable will be recycled. So any old cell phones you have laying around, there's valuable stuff in there that can be recycled. And we have organizations that'll take care of it. So bring it all in on Sunday, 9:30 to 12:30. On November 18th, we're going to be doing a Make Less Mess potluck dinner. So this is going to be an opportunity where we can talk about composting, avoiding single-use plastics, eating low on the food chain as ways of reducing methane emissions. It's going to be at 5:30. It'll be vegetarian and nut-free. We're asking people to RSVP by November 11th. It'll be right before the Friday night services, and then there'll be the oneg afterwards. We've done this once before. It was a lot of fun. Before COVID, we presented to the board a list of 10 green commandments, and the board made some suggestions. We worked with them, and eventually these 10 commandments got passed. And then COVID happened, and a lot of that kind of fell by the wayside, but we've been reviewing our 10 commandments and are going to be presenting the board with updates at next month's meeting. And I'll just highlight a few of them and the progress that we've made. One of our commandments had to do with educational programming for both the adults and children, and we've done very well with that. We've incorporated a lot of activities and programming for adults and children, and also part of our services. Just recently, we had the speaker from the Arava Institute. At Yom Kippur, we had the Al-Chet for the Earth. We did the pollinator garden project, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Lev Learning. So we're doing well with that. We're going to continue working in that direction. Another one of our commandments had to do with recycling and waste reduction. And to that end, you may have been seeing that we have coffee mugs at a lot of our events now rather than disposable cups. The disposables that we have tend to be made of plant-based materials rather than plastic. We have composting now, and work needs to be done on that, but part of what we're going to be doing at the Make Less Mess dinner is education regarding that. We have a policy of no water bottles at official Makom events, and we're looking to reduce the amount of plastic wrapping in our onegs. Another commandment was based on our energy use. So we've conducted a couple energy audits. We're still kind of figuring out where we're going with that direction in terms of reducing our overall energy consumption. I've also looked into solar energy for the building. Solar on the rooftop is not in the cards at this point, but there's been some changes in some Illinois programming regarding what's called community solar. So we can actually subscribe to a large solar development and potentially source our energy from solar there and save some money in the process. I'm going to be working on that over the next week or two. And then one other thing I'd like to highlight is we talked about doing carbon offsets for travel that we do. So we are traveling again. There's a planned trip to Israel in February. Airline travel is one of the most carbon intensive things any of us can do. And so as a way of sort of reducing the damage that we do, because obviously people are going to travel, travel's important, but we can lessen what we do. We're going to encourage people as part of the sign up process to consider making donations to various environmental organizations with Israel connection, such as the Arava Institute, or the Jewish National Fund for planting trees and that sort of thing. So working on the 10 commandments, and then our goals, for the coming year are to just continue our educational campaign. And for me, it's always about, getting people involved with the climate fight. When I talk about this stuff, I like to have a good news, bad news thing. So I'll start with the bad news. You may have read that the snow crab fishing season in Alaska has been canceled this year. I mean, snow crabs are not kosher. But part of the thinking is that rising ocean temperatures have essentially decimated this species at this time. And that's to a large extent related to carbon emissions. On the plus side, there's a very interesting Israeli company called Serotta, who is commercially testing now a battery for cars that could charge 100 miles of range in 5 minutes, which is just amazing, groundbreaking technology. So that's kind of where we're at with the Green Committee. And as always, I'm happy to be a resource for anything energy, environmental, or climate related. Thanks.
Hubert?
Yeah, I have a question about the water bottles. What about, for example, actually it's a stainless steel water bottle. Is that still not permitted?
No, that's encouraged because that's reusable. So it's just the single use, plastic disposable water bottles that we discourage.
Okay.
Linda, do you have a question? You're muted.
Sorry. Okay, Jay, for the electronics recycling, will you take microwaves?
No, we don't take microwaves. We just take kind of like computery kind of
Devices.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. For that, you could probably contact Lakeshore Recycling and the trash service, and they can direct you where to take it. Swalco may, and then the city of Highland Park, their facility on Prairie Road will sometimes take stuff like that.
Thank you.
Marilyn, do you have a question?
Yes, I was wondering, I know you didn't mention, but electrical cords that can be utilized for various electronics.
Yeah, I think they will take those. I'm pretty sure they take those.
Is that for use or will that be for disposal?
Perhaps both. If it's going to work with iPads, Blair will take a look at them. And if it is like an old connection type of thing, it can be recycled.
Thank you.
Hubert, do you have another question?
Yeah, on the microwave, I think one suggestion is app seems to be pretty good in this area. You might want to try app.
Thank you.
Well, Jay, thank you so much for your work on the Green Group, and thank you for joining us tonight to talk to us about your initiatives. Oh, Amy, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I mean, as I'm hearing Jay talk, I'm just so touched at how much you guys have done for the community and how proud I am to be a part of a community that cares so deeply about our future for ourselves and our children. So I just think it's fabulous.
I agree.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jay. Up next, Linda Muskin, who is one of the co-chairs of our Tikkun Olam committee, along with Sharon Stein, is going to talk to us about the Deerfield Free Store.
The Deerfield Free Store started last January out of a guy's garage. It moved to a shed, a storage unit, and now it takes over most of the old Holy Cross School, Waukegan, just north of Deerfield Road. The church closed the school and they are donating the space. So everything in it has been organized like a department store. And it's available to refugees who come for 1 hour by appointment to shop for what they need. Everything's free. So you can get housewares, clothing, toys, furniture, you name it. They shop on Sunday afternoons. Makom Lakeside is responsible for staffing it along with people from the Unitarian Church, the third Sunday of every month from 1 to 4. So during that time, usually 3 different families come in to shop. And we are involved with helping them find things, figuring out what they need, because we're not always speaking the same language, organizing stuff so you can find it when you need it, because you've only got 1 hour to do this. But it is great fun, very gratifying. They are always looking for stuff, but not necessarily the stuff you might think. For instance, the hot item is rice cookers, stovetop pressure cookers, irons, cleaning supplies, laundry soap, dish soap, bath, toilet soap, all that kind of thing. There's a recurring and renewing list that we publish on our site on a regular basis. And the list does change now, not too surprisingly. We need winter coats, gloves, hats, and like we need it yesterday in every size. Same is true of underwear, new underwear in every size. The rule is, if you wouldn't give it to your kid for their first apartment, you're not going to drop it off with them. So that's kind of the baseline for judging this. And if there's any question about the furniture, get in touch with us. We'll give you the link to who to send pictures of it to, and then work out a pickup time. Otherwise, you can drop off stuff at from 1 to 2 on Sundays, from 5 to 7 on Tuesdays, and on Wednesdays from 1 to 3. On Wednesdays, it's kind of an open call for people who want to sort. Everyone wears a mask, and sorting could be folding sheets and figuring out what size they are, or making up toolkits or sewing kits, or whatever makes this whole shopping process just a little bit faster. We'd love to have your help. How about that? Anybody have questions?
It's Lori.
Hi,
Since
Lori.
I haven't volunteered yet, I was just wondering, how's it going? Is it going smoothly with all the volunteers?
You are doing a great job of getting us all organized and making sure we have the right number of people. We need pretty much 4 to 6 people on every third Sunday. And you just sign up to do it. And Lori has how to sign up.
Yeah. And do you think going forward, like after there's after the 4 of us, you, me, Bev, and Sharon, after we've all gone through, do you think we still need 2 of us every third, every time, or can we open that slot up?
Sharon, you were gonna say, your hand's raised. You want to answer that?
Yeah, I'll answer that. So I think that's something we can discuss, but from what I see, I think we'll just have one leader there and then we can open up one more volunteer slot. We need to have 4 people there every Sunday.
Every third Sunday.
Right. I mean, every hour Sunday. You know, every time we're assigned, we send 4. So I think we'll be able to open up more slots for the people who'd like to volunteer.
And you know, the Bears aren't doing that great this year. You could miss the game and it's okay. You know, I mean, you're not missing like the Phillies or something. I mean, the Eagles. I mean, the Bears aren't playing that great. You could put the time into the Deerfield store and probably get more from it.
Elaine, do you have a question?
I do. Could you give us some more guidelines about clothes? At first I heard it was only new, then I heard slightly worn. Are there guidelines on that?
Yes, there are. Some things have to be new. Underwear needs to be new. But jackets, gloves, scarves, hats, that's not. They will take that as a used item. And the list that we circulate delineates between new and used and what we need. But really, the only thing that really needs to be new in terms of clothing is underwear. All ages, all genders.
And you only want seasonal right now? Only winter?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Irene, do you have a question?
Yes, obviously, this is the first time that I'm hearing about this because we're members. Is there a website? How do I go about signing up? How do I find out more about it? The exact location?
We have a link on our site. I will be happy to get your email and send you direct information, and we can connect you with Lori and you can get signed up to help out.
That would be great.
We can do that for you. Do I have this? If you could put your email in the chat, that would be great. Or somebody can do that for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can
And
make
it's in the
sure that
directory, people. Gotta
we
use
can
that
make sure that
directory.
these connections happen. So thank you so much, Linda. I can say myself, the Deerfield 3 store is amazing. And I hope we can get more people involved with that. So thank you for joining us tonight, Linda, and telling us about that. And then next up, Amy Plotnick is going to talk to us about Chesed Circle.
And first, Marilyn's going to do the opening.
Great. Thank you, Marilyn.
I have a question for Linda. I wondered if some of the mitzvah projects for the bar and bat mitzvah, collecting the underwear, the socks, have you opened that up to ideas for bar and bat mitzvahs children to?
That's a great idea. And I will, thank you. We'll talk to, I guess, Ashley about that.
Because collecting mittens and all. The other thing is, I have in the past for other organizations gone to like Target or Kmart, and sometimes they will donate. I could check with them and see, you know, they do a tax or they sometimes allocate X amount. Times are not as like they were years ago, but I'd be happy to check and see if there's a donation. So could you send me the link and I'll make some phone calls?
You bet I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah. So I'm Marilyn Meyers, and I'm co-chair of the Chesed Circle, and I'm very fortunate to work with Amy Plotnick. And we want to bring some possibilities of doing mitzvot that is near to everybody. Most of all, we are unaccustomed for asking for help in our personal lives from our fellow congregants, but still, we hope the benefit of giving and taking will encourage us to ask from one another. And we hope that in time and as a result of COVID, we haven't been able to expand our services and create an ongoing network that can perpetuate itself by offering opportunities of many kinds to help others, and most importantly, to make a difference, a significant difference. The task could be small, it could be a one-time basis, and we encourage our members to sign up and to volunteer and to call the clergy, the office, Amy or I, if they know of a congregant who could use some help. So now Amy will share some of the current tasks that we've already taken care of, that we've accomplished, and some of the ideas and plans that she and Vanessa have gone over for the future.
So as the Hesed Circle, we have several initiatives that we are working on getting started, all under the umbrella of Tikkun Olam. So the first one that we're working on that we've decided to do moving forward is holiday bags that the Hesed Committee will deliver to seniors and members that are in residential living. We'll do it at Rosh Hashanah, we'll do it at Passover, and we'll do one at Hanukkah. The other thing that we have implemented are yurtzeit calls for the first year reminders. We ask how they're doing, if they have any need to speak with clergy, the date of the candle lighting, and to let them know that their loved one's name will be read at services on their yurtzeit date. Birthday and anniversary blessings for our seniors at Shabbat services is a new thing that we are starting. It's going to be on the last Friday of each month. And to that end, Friday, October 28th is going to be our first honoring. And this way, everyone can decide for themselves if they want to come up for a blessing or not. And then Marilyn and I, will be working with clergy to get names of congregants who may need our assistance. And our committee can get their names, and we can bring in a meal, or we can do some letter writing, like a caring note to them, just to be connected with them so that they feel that they're not forgotten, that we're there for them. And we will stay in touch with our clergy regarding the needs of our community. Something may come up that we're unaware of that they would like for us to implement. And then finally, we'll be doing letter writing for special occasions and celebration letters, as well as connecting people who are at home recovering from surgery or an illness. And so that's what we have so far. And I'm sure that as we progress and move down the path, we'll be doing a lot more. But at this moment, this is what we are going to be implementing.
Belated announcement. We also, for Kol Nidre, I arranged for a van from the Mather, and they brought some of our congregants, and we opened it up to who could ever get on the van to come to services. So if you have somebody in assisted living or who was housebound, be sure to contact any of the three of us, because I think people really appreciated it, and it was great to see everybody in person.
It's nice.
This is Floyd. I have a question for Amy.
Yes.
Amy, you mentioned things like bringing in meals, and Vanessa just mentioned a van. Where do you get the money to pay for these?
The van was free.
Okay.
I knew the Mather had a van. I'm like, hey, can we have it on Kol Nidre? And it worked out very well. And Cantor J is going back to the Mather to do some Hanukkah program with them. Right now, that's the only place we're working with. We have a few people at Sedgebrook. And if you have more people, let us know. Amy, go ahead and answer about the meals.
Well, Floyd, what we were thinking of as we form our committee, and we would do a shared meal with the people who are on our committee. Someone may do a dessert, someone may make a salad, someone can bring candles and challah. We could do something along those lines. If the need becomes significant, then we could have a follow-up conversation with you for human needs or whatever other, support system we might need.
Thank you.
And Amy has been very loving and making chicken soup.
Oh, no, Marilyn, no.
Well, you have been, and and Vanessa has a recipe that she put out so that if anybody would like to make soup, but we had stopped doing it with COVID. So there are so many things we'd like to do. And another thing is distance. You know, we have to be very careful. We can't be accepting rides that are very far, and mostly it's local rides. And we pretty much, you know, do crisis oriented one-time basis. We're not ongoing service where we do caretaking and things like that. But none of those things, we used to do all that, not all that, but we did more, but we're really, Vanessa's very careful with us, and we're careful not to do things that might not work with COVID at this time. So that's very important. And Vanessa has been very careful in making sure that we are on track.
Well, thank you so much, Amy and Marilyn, for all the work that you do. And thank you for joining us tonight to tell us about it. One thing I wanted to mention, it's actually a question. Vanessa, are we still collecting for CASA? Do you know?
Yes, because this week is Tikkun Olam Shabbat, and the CASA speaker will be here. So at least through this week. Yes.
Okay, so we are collecting new socks and underwear in all children and adult sizes to be donated to CASA for children and teenagers who are in foster care, who need socks and underwear. And it's interesting. You would think that socks and underwear would not be very exciting, except for if you don't have socks and underwear. New ones are very exciting. So that is our collection. So if anyone has new socks or underwear, those would be for all sizes, all genders, would be very welcome. Amy?
So we could just bring them Friday when we come for services?
Is that correct, Vanessa? We have a box by the office.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So I wanted to put that out there. And we'll have our CASA speaker on Friday at Friday night services. At this time, if anyone has any ideas for our Tikkun Olam committee, any needs, any initiatives that you think we should pursue, we can talk about that now. You could also contact me or Susie Mason or Linda and Sharon. We're open to ideas. Yes, Marilyn?
Yes, we did collect coats for the Abbott House, and we just had a big box with what the collection was out in the hall area near the coat rack, and the box filled up so quickly. It was, you know, not, of course, the, you know, was designated that the coats had to be clean and that they had to be lightly used. Mm-hmm. And it was a very successful idea, because people, now that it's winter time, a lot of their kids are outgrowing their coats, and so they're happy to make those donations and have the children put them in the boxes. And so putting out a big box in the area there might be a helpful way to get some coats and hats, and particularly the jackets.
Thank you, Marilyn. Yes, I would agree that that is definitely a need. And as our kids outgrow the coats, we love to pass those on. So I would agree with that. Irene, did you have your hand up? You're muted.
Oh, I'm muted. You're not. I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought that Makom does volunteers at the Summit Soup Kitchen. Is that still going on? And what is that? And how do you volunteer for that?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, it's still going on. And Andy Amond Rich's wife, has been the coordinator for that for the last couple of years. So I believe there's the date coming up in December. And we're just starting to go back to actually cooking at Beth Emed and serving. So we're going to need a few more volunteers than we have the last few times. Let me see if it's in my calendar or if somebody else knows the date. December. It'll be on a Wednesday.
December 14th.
Great.
And how do you go about volunteering for that?
I'm going to connect you with Andy Amon. I'm going to
Right. And I put her email in the chat. So, but Linda's going to send you a big, long newsletter. Email.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Yes, we do have a Tikkun Olam newsletter. Sharon or Linda, how do people sign up for that?
Yeah, so we have a monthly calendar. It comes out on the first Tuesday of the month. It's opt-in. So if you are not receiving it, you should contact Stacy Friedman in the office.
No, contact me.
Okay.
Just either put your name in the chat or email me and I'll take care of it.
Yes, or we can do third party. People have let me know they want to get the newsletter and I let the office know. So, but yeah, just shoot Vanessa an email and she'll put you on the list. And it has lots of good information in it about what's going on each month. People, we also have a Facebook page that you can friend, and it's a closed page. It's a Tikkun Olam Facebook page. So we are able to share items of interest to Tikkun Olam, things going on at Makom, but also out in the community that might relate to the topics we are in work for. And for people who are not on Facebook, if you would give me your email, I do share that information about once a month, you know, the Facebook postings that aren't in the calendar, because we put the calendar out on the first week, and as we all know, things pop up. I get emails the next day saying, oh, this is going on. So there's lots of information.
Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate your communications on our behalf. Well, I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And again, if anyone has questions or ideas, we would love to hear it via email. So thank you very much.
Before we go, I want to thank everyone who worked so hard. Lynn, really, congratulations. We have 4 more minutes, which actually I have a couple. I have a couple of announcements. This Sunday, we're in person for adult enrichment. Come and get your lox and bagels. Cantor J with Sue Benjamin is doing something on Leonard Cohen. Hallelujah. It's going to be a great morning. And there's still time for the Israel trip sign up. Magen David Dome. I feel like there's one more thing. Oh, I know. The Candidates Forum. So after you have soothed yourself with Leonard Cohen, then go to the Candidates Forum at BJBE and rally yourself up. No, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But there's so much going on. Please look at your Makom at home. And if you ever have any questions, just ask me.
Rabbinic classes start this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Rabbinic classes. Right, Jay. And we've switched it up. So Jay is going to be, Cantor O'Brien's going to be on Tuesday. Rabbi Serotta is going to be on Wednesday. The Juggler. I just watched it today. Excellent movie. You have plenty of time to watch it tomorrow morning. And then Thursday is Rabbi Mafik with the Jewish Justices of the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Vanessa. We can always count on you to have announcements and keep us informed. I'd like to thank everyone tonight. and have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.